Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are here to discuss the Roku Express, launched in October of 2017, and the Roku One, launched in 2013. If you came from the unboxing video of the Roku Express, then you know why we're here and you know why we're doing this. But if you didn't, I'll give you a little quick backstory on this. So we bought the Roku Express as an upgrade from the Roku One. We've had the Roku One for several years now, and we've noticed over the past 6 months that there have been some performance issues with it. It's getting a little slow, it's getting a little laggy, especially when you're navigating through things like Netflix and Hulu. You're getting little buffering wheels over the top of the covers for TV shows or movies. Instead of loading what they actually are, it just shows you a gray tile with a little loading wheel. Sometimes it takes a couple of seconds to load, sometimes it can take up to 10 seconds to load. It's just a little annoying. It's more of an annoyance than anything else. I wouldn't even consider it an inconvenience at that point. If you consider it an inconvenience, you know, that's personal preference. But for us, it was just a little bit of an annoyance. And for 30 bucks, you can get the Roku Express, which is 4 years newer than this. We've missed a lot of models in between then, but they are advertising that this thing is pretty powerful for what it is. I would compare it in size to their streaming stick. It's just a little bit bigger than that, but it's definitely a lot smaller than the Roku One, for example, and actually most of their other Roku set-top boxes that they've had, the 2, the 3, and some of the others that they've offered in the past. This is definitely a lot smaller, and there's a unique feature that they've added with this that I kind of like that I'll tell you about in a second. So for a size comparison, you can see that the Roku One is, I would say, more than twice the size of this one. Sits right on top very comfortably. The Express fits basically in the palm of your hand. There's not much to it. It's got a sensor on the front, an HDMI in the back, power plug-in, and a reset button. The Roku One was very similar, offering HDMI as well. Both devices stream 1080p. The Roku Express does not do 4K, although Roku does offer a 4K model, which is the Ultra. Have not tested it. Looks interesting, but I don't have a 4K TV, so what's the point of streaming in 4K for me? Anyway, the comparison, it's really to take a look at if this device outperforms this device. I think most of us probably know that the answer is going to be yes, but I'm curious to see by how much, and does it look any different? I hear the interfaces change. They're more similar to the updated versions of Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video. What their interfaces look like right now on your computer, your tablet, your cell phone should look more like what they look like on the Roku Express than they do on the Roku One. They stopped updating this, so the interfaces on this look a lot older, they're a lot clunkier, and they don't load as well. And I'm going to show you guys that in the video that we're going to do when we compare the two. So, just so you know what we're about to do, we are going to start from the very beginning by hooking this thing up to power, showing you guys how well it boots, how fast it boots, and then we will go to an app like Netflix, for example. We'll see how long it takes to get Netflix open, and then we will also see how it navigates around the inside of Netflix when you're flipping between different TV shows, and we will also see how quickly it loads a TV show or a movie. So let's get into it. Okay, so we are back. I have the Roku One hooked up. I thought that we would start there for reference. And we're going to go ahead and power it on. Give me one moment here. Okay, power's hooked up to the Roku One. We are on the right input, as you can see. So this is the loading screen. Normally you wouldn't have to worry about this because the Roku does passively stay on all the time. So you're not going to see this loading screen every time you go to turn it on. You don't actually have to turn the device on at all because, like I said, it's always sort of passive. When you would flip to the input on your TV and start to use the remote, it would leave its screensaver mode and you would already be in the main menu. So you wouldn't really have to worry about this, but I think it does tell you a little something about the device when you look at how long it takes for it to boot up. So it's got a bit of a longer booting time, but it's not too long. Nothing to cry about, at least. I would also like to point out that this is the Roku One controller that I have. I also have the Roku Express's controller with me. They are different, very similar but different. you can actually use both remotes with the device. I didn't have to program the Roku Express controller at all to the Roku One, and vice versa. With the Roku Express, I can use the original Roku One remote if I want to, which is kind of nice. So if you lose one or something happens to one, you can actually use the other one to control the second device if you decide to keep it around. So here we are at the main menu for the Roku One. I'll go ahead and just use the Roku One controller for now. As you can see, it's pretty basic. As far as on the left side here, we have your home, feed. You can go to streaming channels to choose a different selection of channels that you want to appear on the right. And you have the search and some other settings that you can adjust. Then if we flip over to the channels that you have saved, here's some of the most popular ones. You guys will probably recognize most, if not all of these. And we will go ahead and boot up Netflix just to use as an example. This is where the Roku One has struggled in the past 6 months, at least that we've noticed. Not only does it struggle to get an application opened up, but it struggles once it's in that application, and I'll show you just here in a second if it decides to actually get into Netflix. Here we go. So this is an older interface. As you can probably tell, it doesn't look familiar to you if you've gotten used to the newer Netflix or more modern Netflix that's actually been around for quite some time. You can see this is pretty common. There's a little bit of a delay. I don't know how much of you can see, but I can feel it. The time between when I press the remote button and when it actually changes is pretty weird, especially when you're switching between the two different rows. Going column to column, it's a little bit better. But if I scroll down here and I flip through, I'm just getting loading. And like I said, this is more of just an annoyance than an inconvenience. You can just wait for it to load. It's not that big of a deal. But you can see what I mean by something that's just feeling a little bit outdated, especially with the interface. Not a huge fan of the way that this is set up, but this was the older Netflix. Just has not been updated for this device. So I think you guys get the idea. I'll go ahead and boot something up here. How about an episode of Futurama? Why not? And just so you know where the internet's coming from, I average about 60 megabytes per second on my Wi-Fi, a little bit faster hooked up. So I do have a pretty solid internet connection. So there you have it. That is the Roku One. Let's go ahead and swap this out and get the Roku Express hooked up. Okay, here we are back with the Roku Express. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. It's plugged in now, and we will see how long it takes for it to boot. The boot screen on this is a little bit different. The letters hop up and down and do a little twist, and it's actually full screen. The Roku One, it was cut off. Along the edges, there was a black shaded area. And we are already booted. Welcome to the home screen. Couple of differences. First and foremost, it's pretty much the same. Everything on the left side there is the same as the Roku One. Everything on the right side is just, again, some of your channel choices, streaming services. But the background's animated, which is kind of nice, and I'm sure there are some more choices that you have when you're going through the background images. So you get themes. You can download more themes, I suppose, which is kind of cool. Your choices were pretty limited on the other one. Screensavers. Anyway, we'll go back to the home screen real quick. And we'll go ahead and boot up Netflix. You'll instantly notice that this Netflix is different looking than the Netflix loaded on the Roku One. It's more updated. The Roku One had the solid red screen, which is an older version of Netflix. Okay, and we're into Netflix already. That was much faster. And obviously the interface is completely different on this device as compared to the other one, which is part of what we wanted. So you'll notice that you do have previews when you scroll over something. That's a full 1080p preview instantly right there. We'll see how fast this one loads. Again, that's another HD preview. Didn't take too long. Now let's go ahead and scroll through the different rows. The moment I click is the moment that's changing. I'm not feeling any hesitation. We'll scroll through the columns. Again, the moment I click is the moment I'm feeling it change. And if I go really fast here, it's as fast as I can go. I'm not seeing any additional loading or buffering circles on any of these. This is all loaded up very quickly. And so we'll go ahead and just load about a movie. We'll do something that's actually a little bit more intense. We'll do this, Bloodline. Haven't seen it, and actually there was just no delay there. It loaded up right away. Let's select something else just to see here. Here's a movie. Instantly, no delay. Picture looks pretty good. So there you have it. Okay guys, I think we're all set. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on before I let you go. I mentioned earlier when we were looking at the two devices that there was something that you get with the Express that's kind of cool. It's just a little adhesive strip actually that you can put on the bottom of the Express, and you could attach it to the bottom of your TV or on your entertainment center somewhere. You can hide it out of the way so that it doesn't stand out. It is small and it's a little bit awkward to give its own space. It's not like, you know, an Xbox or a cable box or a DVD player or something like that. It's very tiny. So it's nice to have that included so that you have the option of mounting it on a shelf or like in one of the locations that I just mentioned. Not something that you could do with any of the other Roku devices unless we're talking about the streaming stick, because they are a little bit larger. So I think based on the comparison, it's pretty clear that the Express is a better buy. You know what, I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't say that it's a better buy, because we're comparing it to a device that's 4 years old. The Roku One was a great device when it launched in 2013, and it was a great device for 2014, 2015. I would argue that it even was still good in 2016, but now things have gotten slower, as I just demonstrated. It's not as smooth. The interfaces are a little bit antique, not as comfortable to go through. The more updated Netflix and Hulu is much more comfortable when you're looking for shows and easier to navigate, which is nice to have. So I think it's clear that the Express beats the One, but of course it's a 4-year difference in technology, so the comparison isn't really fair. This is more about showing you where Roku has gone in the past 4 years, showing you some of the things that we were having problems with the Roku One, and just to show you what the Roku Express looks like and how it performs as compared to some of Roku's older tech. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will make sure to answer it, and have a great day.